Yo, what up, Titan family? Mike Hill, the Wholesaling Titan here. And in today's wholesaling video, I want to talk to you about making massive profits with free leads. Now, specifically, I want to talk to you guys about a comment I made in a recent video where I referenced making $90,000 in profit, having that type of spread from a deal that was listed on the MLS. And in response, I got this wonderful message on Facebook, and it says, Mike, I was a big fan of your videos, but the listed videos are really throwing you off. I've been studying wholesaling for a long time, and I'm not saying it can't be done at all, but there's no way you're making a $90,000 profit on a listed property like you said. I doubt you can even make $2,000. I understand you need to get views, but the exaggerating numbers is totally unnecessary. Unsubscribe. Okay, so what I want to show you guys in this video is that this is something that is possible. I'm not bullshitting you. And for many of you, the doubt that you feel, or, maybe it's a lack of experience or the skepticism, there's a lot of scam stuff out there. Maybe something sounds too good to be true. I see where you're coming from. And so I just wanted to show you a quick example of how this works, and how I'll give you an example of the deal that I was referencing, how I did it. And I want to show you how any one of you, how you at home can do this, sit in front of your computer and do this same thing. So before I show you this, I just want to share two really quick slides. This is from a training inside of Wholesaling with Mike University. And I just want to read you these two slides as the preface for us getting this video started. Okay, so this slide is from the middle of one of my training exercises where I'm talking to my students about your reticular activating system. So there's this exercise, very popular in a lot of self-development seminars. Tony Robbins is very famous for doing it. And what he says is, you tell the audience, okay, everyone take 60 seconds and look for red. Name everything red around you and remember it. So, count 60 seconds, look for red, look for red, look for red. He says, close your eyes, tell me everything that was blue. And the point of this exercise is to show you that there's but so much information we can take in, right? And so we will find the things that we're looking for. This is your reticular activating system. So long story, but the very condensed, succinct way to say this is that our brains are very complex. We can sift through billions of bits of data at any given time, and we have to organize that information. Reticular activating system is a bundle of nerves at your brainstem that filters out unnecessary information so the important stuff gets through. It essentially tells us what we should focus on, and you have to understand why this is important from an evolutionary perspective. If you go back to caveman days, you need to know if something dangerous, if a big mammoth or a saber-toothed tiger is coming to kill you, instead of paying attention to the leaves rustling or something like that, right? So your RAS is the reason you can learn a new word and then start hearing it everywhere. It's why you can tune out a crowd full of talking people, yet immediately snap to attention when someone says your name. And the reason I wanted to kind of start with this is that you need to retrain your brain to look for deals everywhere. Like I said, if you have that cynicism or skepticism or doubt, you're already telling your brain these things don't exist, and you're not going to find them. Again, I work with a lot of beginners. You guys know a lot of my trainings focused on that. And so one thing I often talk to new students about is this concept, 6 degrees of separation. A lot of you guys are familiar with this very famous study by Harvard psychologist Stanley Milgram. It's a theory that any person on the planet can be connected to any other person on the planet through a chain of acquaintances that has no more than 5 intermediaries. It's also called the Kevin Bacon game. But as an example, if I select some celebrity or, Donald Trump or Barack Obama, and I want to connect to these people, I would know someone, maybe someone went to Duke, or, who knows that person, right? And so that's the big thing. You could connect to any other person in the world. And what I forgot to say is I really want to stress that there will always be deals, right? You hear people talk about, oh, no inventory, low inventory. And yes, relative to other points in history, there may be times where there's low inventory relative to the previous time, but there will always be people who lose their jobs, people that pass away, people that get divorced, people's homes are getting foreclosed on. There will never be a shortage of deals, especially in the context of, let's say you want to hit that 6-figure a year mark. You can do that with one deal per month. And now we're at a point where with technology, you can do that stuff virtually. So there's always going to be deals. And the reason I'm saying that is with this 6 degrees of separation, a 2011 study of Cornell concluded that those 6 degrees are actually only 3.74. A 2016 study by Facebook analyzed 1.5 billion active users to conclude that that number is actually closer to 3.5 steps. And as social media grows, we become more interconnected. That number is only getting smaller. So the point I was saying before is that we know for a fact there are people that need to sell. There always will be. And chances are that you know someone right now, or you know someone who knows someone, or someone who knows someone who knows someone who needs to sell a house, or that is a cash buyer. Either way. And you really got to ask yourself, when's the last time I went out into public and or even the PTA meeting or a family event and really ask someone, hey, do you know someone like this? I'm looking to buy houses. You have to start retraining your brain to look for deals everywhere. So I just wanted to start off this video with those two slides, just to kind of get you in the right mindset, because that's where this whole thing starts. And then on that note, let's talk about this deal. All right. Okay, so you can see here, this is a screenshot from inside of my email, and I'm always on the lookout for deals. Obviously, I do my marketing, but I also still look at deals that are listed on the MLS. And there are different ways that you can reach out to listing agents. Typically, if something's really hot or looks like a good deal, or I know a buyer who likes that area, I'm going to jump on the phone immediately. You can also email, and I also use a software, my CRM, that can send out bulk offers very, very quickly, filled out contracts and all that stuff. So I'm always on the lookout. So you can see here, this starts with a offer I made, inquiry, and then an offer on 1570 the 12th fairway. Now, this was a property. I introduced myself. We'll talk about that in a second. And I'm asking the listing agent, telling him I'd like to present an offer. Now, this one did not work out, but anytime you make any type of introduction or meet a person who can potentially bring you deals, you don't, if they say, no, this is not available, or for whatever reason, rejection happens, you don't end it there. You've already expended this energy, linking up with this person. So, use it, make it, look for future connections. So I always end in any interaction by saying, if something's under contract, hey man, are you accepting backups on this? I'm a cash buyer. I'll close quickly. I'm not working with another realtor. You'll get your full 6 commission. And, I sell myself. That's my elevator pitch. And I'll say, if it falls through for any reason, please, can I have your word that you will give me a call, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, let me know first, so I at least have an opportunity to present an offer. Usually these guys are going to say yes, but of course we don't put our future, our pockets, our money in other people's hands. You still have to follow up. There's a whole system for that. We'll talk about that. And then I also say, okay, well, if this is not available, do you have anything else in the area? And then any similar properties? And then it's very important that you're specific about what you want. In addition, I'm not just specific about what I want, I'm specific in what I do not want. And because that just lends you some credibility, and it lets the person know that you're serious. Maybe you have some experience, or at least you know what the hell you're talking about. Think about it. If someone comes to you, put yourself in a listing agent's shoes, and they say, what are you looking for? And you're like, anything that's a good deal. You're not really going to either take you as seriously or try as hard for you. But if you tell them, hey, I want this type of property, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I think I have an example in here actually. Concrete block house between this street and this street, and I don't want anything in a gated community, and I don't want anything that's wood frame. Now that you're getting specific, you're much more likely to have that person reach back out to you. In addition, use these people, right? Turn everyone you know and meet, and it's good. Remember, they're benefiting as well, but turn them into bird dogs to bring you deals. And I'm going to circle back to this in just a second. So you'll see that one didn't work out. And then because I have my keywords in Zillow, and you can have this in your CRM set up, right? To basically save your searches and automatically send you every property that meets your set of criteria automated. I found this lead, and it was 824 Northwest 4th Avenue. You can see in my email inbox. Now I'm communicating with this agent, and I think if I go to the next screen here, whoops, you can see the actual, wrong way. The actual property, right? So this is a picture of the property in question. Great investment property. So the investment was probably the keyword that stuck out to me. And then, a little description, some pictures, what have you. And then I went ahead and presented an offer. Wrong way. So this is the email I sent, and I'm actually going to be blurring this out because there's a reason for this, but I will give you the step by step. I had the exact verbiage that I send for my emails when I'm making offers inside of Wholesaling with Mike University. And I told my students, hey, make this your own, make it unique. You want to introduce yourself, kind of build some rapport via email. Obviously, that's better on the phone. But if you're trying to do bulk offers, send a lot of emails, kind of make it your own, make it unique. And also, if we're all sending, emails, and some of them might be hitting the same agents, you don't want to have copy and paste responses, because then it looks like you're spam, and you're going to get flagged, you're going to get blackballed, and people are going to start responding to your emails. And lo and behold, 99% of people just copy and pasted the exact same email. So I don't want to do that. It would be doing you a disservice. But what you want to do is basically introduce yourself, be a human being. Say, hey, my name is Mike. This is my company. This is what we do. I saw your listing and it has good potential because, again, this is what I'm looking for. And you tell them specifically the things that you are looking for. Like I mentioned earlier, it's also helpful to say things you're not looking for, especially if you're doing like an email as a follow-up, just to reach back out, just to say, hey, just so you know, this is Mike. I made an offer on a property a couple months ago, just to remind you. So I'm looking for, I don't want this, whatever. Right. And then I'm also add a little bit of transparency. I say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm obviously looking to make a profit. I'm looking for rehabs. And I obviously give my criteria. And then even with this particular email with the offer attached, in full transparency, the offer is indeed below asking price, and then I tell them like all the positive things about my offer, right? I'm paying cash. I can close as soon as we have free and clear title. I'm not working with another agent. And then I also, when you're dealing with anyone, you want to make your proposition to do business with them in their best interest, right? Think about what's important to them. So if we think about the average life, or the average, what happens when you're a listing agent, right? Most people buy one house or one or two houses like every 10 years, and then you may or may not get a referral. So and they bring in a buyer's agent. So you're splitting half your paycheck. Whereas I'm coming to you and saying, hey, I'm going to find these myself. You don't have to take me around. You don't have to show me shit. I know what I'm talking about here, right? I'll handle all the paperwork. I'll fill out all the contracts and just send it to you. All you have to do is send it to the seller. And rather than buy one from you every, 10 years, I'm down to buy several of these per month. I'll buy or several per year, and I'm paying cash. We don't have to deal with banks and appraisals and all this other shit. And I'm not working with another agent. So you get your full 100% commission. That's in their best interest. They're going to want to send you pocket listings and send you business before they send it to anybody else. So that's also very important, right? One more thing I was going to say, and I kind of forgot. So see if it comes back to me. Hopefully it will. Okay. Anyway, so I say, okay, attached is the offer, send it to the person and let me know. Oh, I remember. The other thing I was going to say, anything that's unique about you that can add to your credibility, two things actually, right? Anything you can say that adds to your credibility will help you in these emails. So another thing that I do is I try to use investor speak. So I could say, I can send earnest money today, or something like that. But I always say, I'll send you EMD, because by using these little abbreviations, it shows that you talk the talk. In any business or any social environment, there are certain people who it's obvious that they're comfortable in those situations than, someone who's new there. Like if you go to a bar and say, may I have a, whiskey and Coke, you may not sound as comfortable in that environment than if you're like, yo, let me get a Jack on the Rocks or something like that. I don't know if that's a great example, but you know what I mean? It shows that you're comfortable. You've been there before. And so another thing I'll say is, in terms of what I'm looking for, I'll say, I want to rehab. The uglier, the better. I'm comfortable with any level of rehab. Also, we do BRRR, which is basically means it's a strategy. And I don't write it out on purpose, but it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. And if only someone who's in the business would really know to say something like that. So that's going to help you a lot. And then the other thing that I do is, you guys know, I mentioned graduated from Duke University. It's a very good school. When I graduated, we were ranked up there with like Harvard, Princeton, all that stuff. Granted, I'm not a fan of typical like institutional education just for the sake of getting a degree. If you're studying a trade or a doctor, lawyer, then by all means, or if you love what you're doing. But just like a general bachelor's, if you're doing an English degree and you don't know what you're using it for, which was kind of my experience, and I've never really used my degree for any job or anything, it's not a big deal to me. But knowing that it's a good school, one thing I also did is I add into my signature, all right, Duke University alumni, class of 2007. I don't know why, but it just, even though it's not related to real estate at all, I feel like it lends me some type of credibility, right? So I go ahead and make this offer. And then this is a contract I submitted. Now, the asking price on this was $90,000, and I made the initial offer at $65,000. Now, if you can't guess, that offer was rejected. But remember, it's not about sending a bunch of offers and like just seeing what sticks and it's either a yes or no. Negotiation's a long process, and oftentimes it's not a one-shot thing. I never negotiate at one point. It's always a series of small negotiations. And once you get like these little yeses and the seller gets more invested into the deal, it's much easier to get the things you want, be it price reductions or time extensions, things like that, than if you ask for everything up front. And there's a lot of psychology behind that. Once somebody says yes, they're essentially, whatever problem they had in their mind is gone, the money is there, it's spent. All this different stuff. We have a bias to, they say people buy things, for example, emotionally and then justify logically. It kind of works like that. Your mind doesn't want to tell you you're wrong. So that's why I do that way. And there's a schedule that you need to follow in terms of your follow-up. And I even have formulas for how much you should offer. But what I've done here, I made the offer of $65,000, which is essentially, it's not, it's pretty low compared to 90, but again, this house is in rough condition. I'll show you guys pictures in just a second. But I submit that offer. And I've also kind of price anchored on the lower end. And so, I basically, it gets rejected. And then what do? You don't say no, and you shouldn't just go out and throw a number. You say, okay, well, what's the counter offer? What are they looking for? And oftentimes you get a number out of them. And so from there, I went ahead and submitted the offer, which was accepted at $81,000. So the next thing that I went ahead and did is obviously sent it to my buyers list. Now, every contract's a little bit different. There are times to how you can, get your timelines extended, things like that. We can talk about that. In this case, I had an earnest money deposit due. It was only $1,000 in 3 days. A lot of times this is an assignable contract, so the buyer would put it up. But in this case, I figured, it's $1,000, whatever. I'll just put it up, and I put up the $1,000. Again, you don't have to. I've done plenty of deals where I have not put up a deposit at all. Sometimes it just kind of flies under the radar. People don't remember, or a lot of times, the end buyer puts it up, whatever. That's not what's really important. We can talk about that later. But what's important is, I did that, and then I had a smaller than usual inspection period on this. So I sent to my list, and I actually did not get any hits. And as is typical when I send stuff out, or put on Facebook, whatever, I tend to get, where is it? Those are my pictures. I'll come back to that. Yeah, I get stuff like this, right? And I love putting people on blast because I can. But people say things, you're crazy, ha ha ha, I'll give you $2,000. Are you kidding me? $69,000, I'm gonna give you 69 cents. These are just like screenshots that I take because I'm petty. No, but seriously, don't let the naysayers tell you what you can and can't do, what's possible. Put it out there. The market will tell you. And if I got, let's say, a lower offer, maybe 75, again, it would be easier to go back and say, okay, my inspector came in or my partner came in, we looked at it, we still want to buy it, but now we need it at, 70, 75, whatever it is, and you can get the price reduction. I have a whole formula how to do that, so we'll talk about that as well. But essentially what happened is I put it out to my list, and this is what the property looked like, right? So you guys can kind of see it is more or less a shell. This thing is gutted. So these are pictures I took of the house. Pull down the ceiling, and it's just obviously a very, very rough property. And so that's why you saw those comments about like, screw you, blah, blah, blah. So actually, when I started this business, quick story interlude here, I was not very good at figuring out repair costs. And as a wholesaler, people overestimate this. You do not need to be amazing at this, okay? Because your end buyer is really going to be the one doing this. But you should be able to have a general idea. But me kind of being the obsessive person I am, I wanted to understand it from a cash buyer perspective. And so I spent about like $4,000 on various trainings, stuff with different RIA groups. I bought software. I went on a bus trip where we went and walked through all these different rehabs with an actual investor and did the actual calculations, sat down with spreadsheets and calculators. We went to Home Depot and spent an entire day walking up and down every single aisle, literally taking pictures, writing stuff down. And I actually learned this pretty well, right? And I bought some tools and software, but what I found later is I got really good at it. But when you're doing bulk offers, that's just a waste of time, right? It just takes too long. And so what I did is I created a spreadsheet with using the macros, the Visual Basic macros inside of an Excel program. So my revenue management days, corporate America, were not completely wasted. And I basically made this tool where you can go in as a wholesaler, and it basically just takes estimates of like what you would traditionally spend for certain things, and you just rip the square footage off the property appraiser site, plug it in, and within 2 minutes it'll tell you. And so I used that exact same tool, didn't bring in a GC, general contractor, inspector, nobody came to see it. And I decided that, you know what, I'll let my deposit go hard. If I can't sell it, I'll actually keep this thing. And at the time, I didn't know anything about actually rehabbing a house, about getting a hard money loan, about how to rehab, and there's all these different things. But I do have my network. I am connected to people, and it's like, dude, at some point you got to take action. You got to take that leap of faith. You can't just expect to know everything before you get started. And I say, you know what, I'll do this rehab. If no one wants it, I'm just gonna do this rehab, whatever, right? So this is next a video that I took. First getting in here, this is like day 5, so I'm just talking my talk like I do, but basically I'm gonna fast forward a little bit for you guys, past my talking. But this is just, yeah, some more of like what that house looked like, so you can see, like, it's completely trash is the point that I am making here. And don't worry, I'm going to show you the end product as well. So now we're going to, that would be the back room. This will become the bathroom. There's not even a wall there right now. And so again, this is why a lot of people can't see the vision. But I remember my mentor, one time he took me into this house. We're looking at houses, and he's like, smell that. And it smells like mold, smells like piss. And we're like, oh, this is gross. And he's like, nah, that's the smell of money. And that trip was before this house. So I knew I had something here, right? So anyway, fast forward. Rehab gets done. And these are my friends there. Now you can see this is the Palm Beach county property appraiser, right? So this is something that's in a public record. These are recorded through a title company. This cannot be faked. You guys can go and look this up. You go to sunbiz.org, look up the LLC that I bought this in, whatever. This is the address, 824 Northwest 4th Avenue. You can see here, it was purchased $81,000, sold for $210,000. So that is a spread of, I have the math here, $129,000, right? And then the rehab on this was just under $40,000. So that brings us to a profit spread of $90,000. And funny enough, the person that bought this house at 210 went ahead and sold it for 245. To my knowledge, they did no major rehab stuff, but they did like a lot of cosmetic stuff. So meaning they put a fresh coat of paint on the front. They painted up the walls and the bedrooms. I'm not sure if they lived in there for an extended period of time or what have you, but it staged very nicely. So you can see it again here. It's on the property appraiser site. This is an old listing. They sold it for $245,000. And here are just some pictures, just so you can see the before and after. Like I said, they jazzed it up with some of these colors and paint and stuff like that. But this is the exact same house, right? And so I guess a couple points I want to make here is that, let's go through these. There's a lot of pictures, but yeah, same house right here. So they did a good job with that whole staging and all that stuff as well. Oops. And that is the exact same house. So at $245 from the original selling price, that's a spread of $164,000. Now again, full transparency, I'm not telling you guys that it was $164 profit, but I'm showing you this spread was there, and this property was sitting on Zillow. Anybody at home, you could have done this same deal. You just kind of have to know what to look for, how to talk the talk, do the follow-up, and all that stuff, right? And so, again, also in transparency, I said from my end is a $90,000 profit. That includes the rehab. And so I'm not saying it's a $90,000 wholesale deal, but think about it. If you find somebody who's content to make $50,000 on a rehab, then that would be a $40,000 profit. So I'm just showing you guys that this stuff exists, right? It exists. And this is not some anomaly. Like, I do these deals all the time. I've done several rehabs that came directly from Zillow, from my Zillow leads, from the MLS. I've done a rehab. This is my $85,000 profit. I've done a $78,000 profit. Did one, I don't know what the exact spread was, probably somewhere around there, but I did that with my parents, and we're holding that now as a rental property. So again, we have it's cash flowing. And again, that's something very important. Is like network with the people around you, your family, your friends, and then you can use hard money, private money, stuff like that. Um, you have to figure out what your assets are and your strengths are and things like that. But these deals are absolutely out there. So a couple more points I wanted to make is that, again, I'm not advocating this is the only way to find deals. Now, obviously, I still have my off-market deals. I still do marketing. But I am saying, especially for you beginners, one, you got to start looking for deals everywhere. You have to have that faith. You have to have that vision. But I like this, especially, again, I work with a lot of beginners. This stuff costs zero. They're literally $0 to find these leads. You just have to know what to look for. Be very diligent in checking on these things daily. Then there's a whole system. You're probably not going to submit the offer and get the yes, get it accepted and or get it accepted at the number you need. So you have to go through your follow-up system, and there's a schedule, and there's it's got to be a system, right? You can't just do this stuff random. But again, there's an abundance of these deals, and you can also do this virtually, right? So I have some notes here, and I don't know what the hell I was talking about. I have the number 2000. Oh, okay. So the other reason I recommend this, because a lot of wholesalers, right, especially when you're just getting started, you have maybe $2,000, $5,000, something like that, and you see like the fancy software, or you start doing like direct mail, or I don't know, whatever it is, right? And you throw all your money into your business, which is commendable, and it's great that you're taking that leap of faith. But what happens with a lot of people, some people have less than that, and that's okay too. You can get lucky. Like either my second or third deal, I only had $200. I took it all and spent it, right? And so I spent it on, I printed out letters at home. I bought a list from the county courthouse, whatever, and I bought stamps, and I printed them at home and stuffed the letters, sent them out, whatever. And I ended up doing a deal that way. And so you can get lucky, and there are times where you will. But I'm saying, if you want to kind of make this replicatable and make it predictable, you're gonna be spending more than that if you're just doing off-market stuff. And so what happens is, a lot of people, maybe they have like their last $500 maybe, and they spend it on software, they spend it on mail, they don't get a deal, and that shit just dwindles away. Now you're back at zero. Now you're starting from zero again, and you've lost all your momentum. Maybe that CRM that you did, like, you can't pay the monthly bill, now you're locked out and you got to start all over. So the reason I talk about like these MLS deals so much is because, but not just MLS deals, if you're on a limited budget, what you really want to do is you want to start your first deal, do some driving for dollars, very low cost, you're basically just paying for gas, do joint venture deals with other people, they've taken the effort, they've spent the money, they've done the marketing, grab their deals, just shoot it out on Facebook, and start reaching out to investors on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then do a joint venture deals. It doesn't cost money. It's how I did my first deal. MLS deals, word of mouth, start talking to people, 6 degrees of separation, and pick up the phone and start making some cold calls. And then when you do your first couple of deals that way, for your first deal, maybe first 2 deals, well, now instead of like $200 or $2,000, whatever, you have $20,000, and now you put that into your business, you do pay marketing, and then all this stuff really starts to come together. And that's when you can like keep it going, and then more deals come in, and then don't go buy stupid shit. Just keep reinvesting it into your business, and still pick up these free leads along the way, and then your business will start to boom. So I got 2 things left for you guys. One, if you have questions, please make sure you leave them in the comments, because I always hate to like lose someone who's like a subscriber, and especially someone who like my stuff or is into wholesaling. But at the same time, someone like that who's ready to say this can't be done before they even try, I can't help someone like that anyway, right? So you gotta have that faith. But if you are interested, like for example, that spreadsheet I was telling you about for the rehab, that's in my training program. That's in Wholesaling with Mike University. And what I'm doing now is I am giving Wholesaling with Mike University. That's my course that was just completely redone, shows you how to wholesale from step A to step Z. Gives you all forms, contracts, give you tools, access to my secret Facebook mastermind group, all my scripts, all my ebooks, everything I put out, every training I've ever done. It's all in order, very systematic action plan. That was typically sold as a course all by itself. Instead, what I'm doing now is I'm giving the course away for free for everyone who joins what I've just announced a week ago, which is my group coaching program. It's gonna be bomb. We got our first phone call coming up in a week. They're all going to be recorded and added to University if you can't make the live call. So check that out. I'll put that link below the video. And if you're still a little skeptical, still on the fence, still want to see a couple more examples of how this works, I also have a webinar replay where I show a lot more examples of me doing deals like this. Not just rehabs, but actually just wholesaling these things out, showing you how that works, how to find them, and some of the, like I said, the nuances, man. Like there's a system to it. Like even when you are like what to search for, right? What do you look for? I get very, very specific and detailed. Again, that's in Wholesaling Mike University. But there's a specific way that you should write up your contracts, and should you make it assignable, not assignable, like different things like that, different terms. What do you put in there? And I walk you through over the shoulder videos on how to fill out the contracts. Then what to say in the emails. We talked about that a bunch here, but then also how to follow up, when to follow up, things to say, like things like that, right? And so it's a whole process that you have to go through. And so that's going to show you kind of the step by step and the follow up system and all that stuff on how to get those types of deals accepted and the terms and all that stuff that you want to put in there. But yeah, if you want to see more examples of like how I did that, other deals, I do a lot of case studies in that webinar presentation from deals that I've done. As well as deals that my students have done. So you can check those out. And again, they vary. Some of them will be lower profits, $8,000. There's ones in there for $20,000. And those are pure wholesale profits. The HUD statements are in there. The wire transfers, the proof. So, if you want to check it out, still got the skepticism going on. Go check that. Again, link in that description. And then again, please hit me with the questions. Even though this was an unsubscribe, it's, oh man, but it was the inspiration for this video. So good, bad, whatever type of comments you have, please leave them for me. Also, you can join my Facebook group. I got a free group where you can leave questions and I'll get back to you as well. Until then, I really want to thank you guys for tuning in and joining me today. As always, very much appreciated. And if you could, please, if you got value from this, do like, comment, share, and subscribe. And especially if you could drop a like and hit that notification bell, it helps the algorithm so much. And I would greatly appreciate it. And heck, I know Jade would too. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I look forward to your comments and for your advice on what video I should do next. And if you have any questions, again, you can reach out to me. I'm on, Instagram as well. That works too. Mike Hill TWT. Facebook group, comments, and check out Wholesaling Mike University. Again, it's free when you join group coaching. The link below will give you all the details on how that's going to work. I'm very excited because I really wanted to basically bring in a live component into the training. It was just a course before, and don't get me wrong, I have students who are very successful with the course, not even mentoring students, but I mean people who just have the course, but now I want to bring in that live component. And so I'm very excited to go ahead and do that. But I always ramble at the end. Love talking to you guys. Thank you for being here with me, and I will see you on the next video. All right, take care. Peace.